All right. Plus Nation assembling early this morning. Lots of folks already in the chat room, and I certainly appreciate that. Welcome. It is great to have you here this Monday morning. And boy, what a week the Warriors got in front of them. If they win tonight and if they lose tonight, this week ain't going to last very long. Ooh, big basketball game in L.A. tonight. Good morning to you. Sip of coffee, and we'll be underway. Steph needs to take matters into his own hands tonight. I mean, that's just the only way to really look at this. It feels like Clay and Draymond, and to some really odd extent, Jordan Poole, are all comfortable or allowed to be selfish at times. It's time for Steph Curry to get selfish, basically tell his teammates, I'm going to put you in pick and roll. Let me do my thing. Get the fuck out of the way. That's what Steph needs to do tonight. Steph needs to be a little selfish tonight. If team basketball ain't working, there's only one man who wears a Superman cape on this team. All due respect to Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and everybody else who's had a good game in a Warrior uniform, Steph freaking Curry. That's the path forward. That's it. That's it. Now, he averaged 33.7 points per game in the first round. He is down to 23 points per game here in the second. That has an awful lot to do with some really good Lakers defense, some really bad execution on the Golden State Warriors' part, and the fact that Darvin Ham has done a really nice job sort of pushing the Warriors off that three-point line, and he's not pushing them to the half-court line. He's pushing them to the rim, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Curry, he's got to shake loose, get to the rim, give up the body. You're in Hollywood, so if you got to flail, if you got to scream, if you got to act, if you got to grow a little nanny goat, chin beard a little bit longer out, so when you throw it up, it's obvious, do that. Do that. Getting to the line needs to happen for the Golden State Warriors tonight. And what I absolutely summarily reject is that, and look, the Warriors do shoot a lot of jump shots. We get that. And they take threes. We get that. But they are going to the rim. They're going to the rim, and I'm watching Steph Curry get batted around like bowling pins where he's laying around. And no call. No call. The Warriors are taking the attack to the rim. They are going in the paint. If they're not, how is Anthony Davis averaging like 4 blocks a game in this series? He's doing that at the rim. The Warriors are going to the rim. And so a little more down the middle officiating wouldn't be a bad thing. And I'm not blaming refs. I'm not blaming refs, but I'm just going to say it straight up. I said this on the post-game emergency show that we did on Saturday night. The Lakers aren't going to lose a game when they get all the calls, when they get 2 superstars completely playing up to their billing while the other opponent is getting sloppy. The Golden State Warriors can blame themselves. Warriors fans should look at that team turning the ball over as often as they did and complain about that more than any level of officiating. Warriors aren't responsible for how a game is officiated. And look, the NBA doesn't fix games, but there's no doubt games are altered by the officials that call them. And we've had 2 games where officials have given at one point in time a 17-0 free throw ratio to the Golden State Warriors, or to the Lakers, over the Warriors. I mean, the series altering official is working tonight. Scott Foster's out there. Scott Foster, the extender. You know, whenever a team is down, Scott Foster, his phone rings if the series wants to get extended. So hopefully that is a help for the Golden State Warriors. They certainly haven't been helped by a drop of officiating yet. And if the Lakers, specifically if Anthony Davis, is allowed to just go to the rim straight through anyone's chest that he sees and either get a bucket or free throws out of it, just it's an endless parade of Anthony Davis at the free throw line. And he goes crashing into people just all willy-nilly, and is that a charge? Is it a block? It hasn't been a charge yet. Not once. Not on Anthony Davis. Maybe he got called for 1. But that's it. So, look, it is time. It is time for the Golden State Warriors to start playing with a little more, what? You're in Hollywood. Act. Get to the line. Learn how to get there. You got to get there tonight. or you got to quit sending the Lakers there like it's your job. Quit turning the ball over. This goes back to stepping on their own dicks. Do less of that. It's official analysis. Look, we'll get into the anatomy of Game 3, where it went wrong, and some adjustments that the Warriors need to do tonight. But if you're thinking about what you're going to do to adjust your lunch from not very good to delicious, that guy right there, he can help you out. This is like the Scott Foster of sandwiches. You send in Ike, and all of a sudden, your lunch is going to get delicious. There you go. Who else is doing promos for you like that, Ike? Anyone ever call you the Scott Foster of sandwiches before? I don't even know if he likes that. Probably not, to be totally honest with you. Forget about that. It's just a delicious sandwich. Which sandwich is delicious? Try all of them. Anything you might want, any picadillo you might have, and how you want your sandwich made, not made, do this, don't do that, they'll do it. Get it your way. Ike's. Freaking delicious. And speaking of freaking delicious, did you make your cocktails with a little blackened whiskey? I got people reaching out to me. Postman, a buddy of yours, said he was hanging out with you this weekend. You had just picked up a bottle of blackened, and that sucker's almost gone now. I hope you had a great weekend, man. You and your friend, who was nice enough to reach out, saying that he really, really enjoyed the show, sent a nice little message over on the YouTube chat. I certainly do appreciate that. Look, we will get into what you're chatting about when we get to Club Plus today. I can promise you all that. It's right around the corner. But look, got to look backwards before you look forwards, right? So Game 3, the Lakers, first of all, opened up on an 11-4 run. That can't happen tonight. That shouldn't happen tonight, because you're not going to have Klay Thompson just going, dropping 11 before he sits down, just hotter than a pistol, because he sort of cooled off at the end of that game. D'Angelo Russell, you got to keep that guy in check. You can't let him be that third Laker who's just getting everything he wants, because LeBron and basically AD are getting everything they want. Can't have D'Angelo Russell sign up for that too. You just can't. The Warriors, though, go on an 18-4 run. At the end of that first quarter of Game 3, they led by 7, and you actually started thinking like, oh, this is going well. Nice, all things, even though it wasn't a great start out of the gate. By the time they came around that fourth turn for the backstretch of that first quarter, things were looking good for the Warriors. LeBron James, in his first dozen minutes of play, hadn't even taken a shot. When he missed his first shot, the game is still tied around 42. So even though it was kind of a good start, that was a first warning sign, like LeBron's not even scoring yet, and this is a tie game. And then all the flow that got the Warriors into that 18-4 run just completely vanished. The Lakers slowed the game down. The Warriors helped the Lakers slow the game down with bad choices and bad decisions. You got Draymond getting a tech for arguing. Stop it. Again, free throws. Stop it. Just play defense and shut your mouth. Oh, but Draymond's got to fire himself up. Yeah, it would be a lot more easy to fire yourself up if the series is tied 2-2. That'd be a lot easier to fire yourself up if that's happening. All the flow of the first quarter, second half of the first quarter anyways, gets sucked right out of that game. The Warriors with 8 turnovers in the second quarter alone of Game 3. They spend most of the second quarter going right back to the bad habits that embarrassed them pretty much when you looked at them on the road, just playing out-of-sync basketball. Kerr has said it over and over again. Connectivity. They're not connected. Well, get yourself connected. I think that's a song. And you get yourself connected. Stumble you may fall, stumble you may fall. That song. I'll spare the rest of it. So, you got Curry, Wiggins, and Klay all in low double figures at halftime. No one else is really doing anything, and that's the way the game was. You had B- performances from Curry, Wiggins, and Klay Thompson, while everybody else was basically failing the test. I think we get JaMychal Green out of the lineup tonight. That gimmick worked once, didn't really work again, so that needs to kind of go away. Go small ball, go pick and roll. That's what the Warriors do whenever they get in trouble, and then it seems like, they're no longer in trouble, so they go away from what's working. Stop going away from what's working in a series. And I don't believe there's momentum really in between games, but there's certainly momentum within a game. Stick with what gets you momentum in a game. And if the pick and roll does that, go with it, stay with it, do it tonight, do it early, often, and then stay with it while you're trying to eliminate the Lakers. Or you're going to find yourself eliminated. Curry, again, was a bad performance. Really was. Turnover on the second possession of the third quarter. 13th turnover of that game to that point. Anthony Davis actually gets a charge on Draymond. It's a 50-50 play. Kerr challenges it, lose that, so that's 4 on Draymond. Draymond picks up his 5th foul, not even a moment or two after that. Draymond's got to stay out of foul trouble tonight. Got to happen. Got to have that. Anthony Davis is just going right up everyone's chest. And if he's going up everyone's chest and either getting a bucket or to the free throw line, I suggest just getting out of the way. Like, that doesn't sound like the best defense in the world, right? Sounds like you're kind of giving up, but it's not. Stop giving this guy extra opportunities to beat you. Let him miss a shot. Wiggins threw down the only highlight of the game, a Mama Chewbacca dunk after Davis blocked a Curry layup. Again, Curry layup. The Warriors are going to the rim, but are not going to the free throw line in games 1 and 3 of this series. That cut the lead to 12, but then as soon as that happened, the Lakers get it right back to 18. LeBron, who doesn't sustain it for 4 quarters anymore, but can have a 4 or 5 minute stretch where he just completely takes over a game on the defensive end. His full powers are on display during a 10-0 Lakers run. It's an 18-point Lakers lead after 3 quarters. They got 33 free throw attempts through 3 quarters. 25 more than the Warriors. I don't care who they're playing. I'm not even talking about a Warriors game. Any single time the Lakers get to shoot 25 more free throws than their opponent, they're going to win. Anytime the Washington Wizards get 25 more free throws than their opponent, they're probably going to win. That's just the way it goes. Unless the Warriors have one of those, you know what, they shot 43s tonight and they made 23 of them. Unless they're over 50% from downtown, you can't make that up. You really can't. So, just a huge game tonight. A lot of people are saying it's a must-win. Certainly feels like a must-win because you don't want to be down 3-1 even though you'd be coming home Wednesday night to Chase Center, but you just don't want to be in that situation. This sucker has to, for the Warriors, get tied up tonight, and then they have to go up 3-2 with a win at home on Wednesday. The Warriors need to win 2 games in a row starting tonight. I know that. You know that. They know that. The NBA knows that. Hopefully Scott Foster knows that as well. The coffee's good this morning. Thank you for asking. Little other NBA news for you here before we get into bigger things that some people may be offended by. I don't give a shit. We're going to talk for real here on the Plus. We don't have to worry about anything. We're doing our own little thing. If you're offended by this, why are you watching it in the first place? If you do get offended by it, you can officially send your I'm offended emails to www.noonegivesaffuckwhatyouthoughtintthefirstplace.com because that's officially who I'm working for now. So, they let the HR department that doesn't exist deal with some honesty we're about to drop on you here. But some NBA news. The Sixers are back from the dead as Harden hit an overtime game winner. That was a great game. That was a lot of fun. The Heat can all but kill the Knicks tonight with a 3-1 series lead. That game starts before the Warriors go off. Oh, you know what? I even prepared this lovingly here for your ticker. There you go. This is everything you need to know tonight. We got 2 games. Oh, no, wait. I did not get that one. Did I? Wait. I screwed it up. I forgot to hit save. Sorry. Never mind. We'll not do that ticker tonight. Here you go. You get a nice little generic ticker saying, hey, subscribe, like, listen. We really appreciate it. Devin Booker. Devin Booker is scoring from all 3 levels with the efficiency of an at-the-rim center. I mean, he's been amazing so far in the playoffs. He really has been, man. Devin Booker's amazing. Let's just say the other thing that everyone was kind of talking about in the NBA this weekend was the whole Jokic shoving the Suns' new owner, that whole thing. Let me tell you, this whole league has gone straight up full pussy if Jokic gets suspended. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. That shouldn't happen. The Suns owner needs to learn how to sit in a courtside seat. By the way, improve your courtside seat. You just bought the team. Get somewhere mid-court, for God's sake, way in the corner. Unless that's the seat he prefers. I don't know. But Jokic shouldn't be suspended. The Suns owner doesn't need any discipline. Everybody needs to calm down. Can we get just a little, just rational thought applied to anything in sports, or does it have to be the most breathless outrage of all time for everything? It's ridiculous. The timeline this weekend was basically full of two baseball happenings. Let's start with the really sad one. Rest in peace to Vida Blue. Rest in peace to Vida Blue. Way too young to have left us, but he passed away over the weekend, and all you got to do is look at all the Facebook posts. All you got to do is look at all the Twitter posts. All you got to do is look at how many people basically, essentially, posted the exact same thing. The exact same thing over and over again. And it basically, everyone's Twitter timeline sounded like this. You know, I got to meet Vida Blue once, and he was funny, and he was engaging, and he made me feel special, and what a great guy. I saw that story 200 different times from 200 different people from all walks of life, from every generation of baseball fans, little kids, older kids, adults, grandparents. Everybody had I met Vida Blue. What a great guy he was in the moment that I met him. Thanks to a couple of situations that put me around Vida, I got a couple of really funny Vida Blue stories. I think the funniest of which is when he really kind of hit all over my wife at a Guardsman sports auction. And then he found out that Jillian was married to me, and he's like, damn, how'd you do that, Damon? The other Vida Blue story that was just, to me, is my favorite Vida Blue story that is just magical. There was one day where it was like, this is a long time ago, KNBR at the Park Day. So as a host on KNBR at the time, I am there. There are people from the station. We get to take a little batting practice off of Vida Blue. Pick up a helmet, get in the cage with the bat, and Vida's out there behind an L screen. And he's just kind of, he's being really nice. He's soft tossing. He's letting everyone get a hit off of him eventually after he throws a few past, he'll throw a couple past you and then he'll give you a couple gimmies. Well, I don't know. I step into the box and I've never been a good hitter ever. Vida Blue throws me kind of a lollipop that I just absolutely pull right on down the left field line for what would be even a stand-up double for my fat ass. And Vida looks at me, and I look back at him, and I give him like the one, kind of like, hey, welcome to my kitchen. I give Vida a little look that says, look what I just did off you. And then in the other 10 pitches that Vida threw to me, I didn't make contact but fouling off one of them. He's like, enough of that, son. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome to actually get some smoke from Vida Blue, who was, in his early 60s at the time that's happening, late 50s. And he's up there just throwing, 12-6 curveballs at me and one or two on the inside corner that actually had some smoke on them. I didn't make contact the rest of that at-bat. It was awesome. It really was. By the way, a little more baseball for you. We'll let you know that the Nationals are in town. Washington is here. They're not a very good team. The Brewers are a pretty good team. The Giants took 2 or 3 off of them in a series that no one could love because they are the 2 worst teams in baseball. The A's actually won a series for the first time this year, but that's not what anyone's talking about in terms of what happened for the A's in Kansas City over the weekend. And that brings us to Glen Kuiper. And again, if you're easily offended, you need to go fuck off right now. So I'm not here to tell you how you should feel about anything. First of all, let me get something perfectly straight. I don't care how you feel about anything. Your feelings don't affect my feelings. So whether you want to give Glen a little grace, or you want Glen, pilloried to the point where he's fired and never works again, that says more about you than it does Glen Kuiper. God forbid you ever make a mistake. And Glen, look, He made a terrible mistake. He made a terrible mistake. But I do believe it was a mistake. You know, I'll say this. I guarantee you I know Glen Kuiper than most of you. And I don't claim to know Glenn well. We don't have phone calls together. We don't go out to dinner together. But I've been around enough Glen Kuiper in my life to always have a good feeling about Glenn. Well, Damon, you know, you're not black, so he never dropped any racism on you. Look at it this way. If you think Dave Stewart and Shooty Babbitt would be comfortable working around a out-and-out racist for the better part of 20 years, you're a straight-up sucker. You really are. I'm going to tell you right now, black people are handling this situation with more dignity and grace than most white people out there are. You virtue-signaling fuckers. You're pathetic. You're absolutely pathetic. Are you offended by the word? Good, you should be. It's a word. Move on. Stiff upper lip it for something just once in your life. Black people are handling this with more grace and dignity than half the white people I see reacting to this. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've got some other things to say. I saw the video. We all did. I have since seen a second video from the pandemic because they're going over, cutouts in the stands. And Glen Kuiper was talking about the Negro Leagues, and he slipped up and said the other word when he was doing that. And this was a few years ago, but maybe it was because of the pandemic. I don't know, but everyone's got the receipts now on Glen Kuiper, and they're trying to prove that he's some bad guy or something like that. Let me tell you a little bit about something when it comes to talking for a living. Another topic that I probably know more than most about. And I'm not trying to excuse Glenn. Look, Glenn deserves the suspension that he's serving right now. That is how bad that word is. You can't say it even under I screwed up circumstances. You can't. But there are some words that some people who speak for a living just cannot say. You know what one of mine is? Anonymity. Anonymity is a word that I stumble over to the fact where if there were a racial connotation to the word anonymity, I wouldn't even say it. So, Glenn, little personal advice from me to you. Don't say the word Negro ever again. Whether you're talking about the Negro League, well, that's the only time you're allowed to say the word Negro is when you're talking about the Negro Leagues. Me, as someone who has said, a white man, the word Negro Leagues into a microphone, I hit the knee in Negro like I am about to talk about an ACL injury. I think he went into it and he went in with a nuh. And if you don't come in with a knee and you come in with a nuh, you might land on it funny. And that's what I really think happened. More than, oh, well, you can tell that ain't the first time he's ever said that word. Fuck you. You've said it too. We're going to pretend this virtue signaling like, oh, I've never used that word. Oh, what, are you not omnipresent in pop culture? You never listened to an NWA tape? You never sung along with a Drake song? Come on. The word is everywhere. The word is everywhere. It is offensive when it comes out of a white person's mouth. My friend, the official brother of the Damon Brew Show years ago said, here's a real simple rule. Here's the deal when it comes to the N-word. Don't say it. Take the deal. That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. But I'm going to tell you right now, that word happens in my mind because I sing along to songs that, I'm aware of the word. I've used it. I've used it in punchlines. I've used it you've used it. Everyone's used the word. So this whole, oh man, listen to how easily it came out of his mouth. That ain't the first time he said the word. All of you, it ain't going to be the first time you said the word the next time you say it either. Straight up. Let's be real. Are we done clowning around? Are we done swimming around in a kiddie end of the pool? Can we go over here where the adults are talking? Let's be honest. Is it offensive? It sure is. Don't say it. Take the deal. Personally, what I can't believe is that the word Negro is still even in circulation. That's the original N-word. That one. Right there. That's the original N-word. I'm surprised that it's still being used in any capacity by any museum. But Glenn stumbled over that, and I think he should serve his suspension and then be allowed back. And I promise you, because you can't sneak an overt or even a subvert racist past the city of Oakland, shame on you if you think that that could actually happen. That's just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I guarantee you, if you polled nothing but African-American A's fans, should Glen Kuiper be allowed back, he'd be allowed back by a 90% vote. The man who runs the Negro League Museum, Dave Stewart, said, I know this man. This is not a racist man. So if it's good enough for Dave Stewart and the man who is the curator of the museum, shouldn't it be good enough for you too? Especially if you're just some 20-something white fucker who's just virtue signaling his ass off on Twitter for the likes. Fuck you. People's sensitivities piss me off. I'll say this about Glenn. He shouldn't order a Negroni anytime soon. I mean, you got to have a sense of humor in life, man, right? Don't order any Negronis. Don't do it. Just stay away. Just stay away from that word. He obviously has trouble with it. And I'm speaking publicly, not anonymously. I'm not doing that right now. There are certain words that even broadcasters stumble over. That seems to be his. Oh, by the way, he should have also gone to Oklahoma City Joe's. Much better than Arthur Bryant's. Much better. So everyone just needs to calm down. Just serious. Don't we have enough shit in the world going on? Glen Kuiper is now your go-to example of oppression. That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He deserves to be suspended. That's how much he screwed this up. Let me also just say this too. Is there any doubt that the people who are working on A's baseball are the least of the producers available? Look, I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but was that pre-taped? Like, did they actually have time to look at that and go to air with it, or did that actually happen live? I don't even know. Normally, those little setup scene setters are pre-taped. They're pre-taped. And if they let that go, how bad is everyone around that at that job? I'm going to tell you, Dallas Braden was just on autopilot. He sat there. He didn't even move. He didn't even hear it. He wasn't even listening. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. One that I can promise you he feels bad about, not because he got caught, but because he was offensive in that moment. And may I suggest just a little bit of grace? The people who are saying, well, when someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Go fuck yourself. I can't tell you. But by the way, that's white people saying that. It's just like a whole bunch of white guys. When someone shows you who they really are, believe. Stop it. Stop it. He clearly misspoke. Do you think he was on a career suicide mission that day? Do you think he wanted that word on the broadcast? Do you think he was going for that? Oh, well, he just must use it so casually in his free time that it just stumbled right out. No, I don't think so. Again, you don't know the guy. I do. I don't claim to know him well. I haven't actually seen Glenn since the pandemic started, to be honest with you. But every time I've ever been around him, he sure is someone who doesn't seem like he's got a bad bone in his body. Get it to a little house credit with me. Maybe consider giving it to him yourself even. So there we go. Today's show is not for the easily offended. Go ahead and try to get me fired from the Plus. I dare you. If any of this offended you. Wouldn't it be something if I fired myself? Damon, I didn't like that show today. I'll send like a really stern letter to myself and my HR department, which is essentially Jillian. Jillian's like, Damon, you've been indefinitely suspended. What I do know is that this world could use a little grace, a little love. We can all get together. I can tell you that every single person, I don't care who you are, what your background is, you are welcome here. You are welcome to join this conversation at all times. The only people who I have any contempt for are the deaf. I'm just kidding. But really, I mean, you're not going to subscribe to the podcast at that point. Probably not watching now. If you're deaf, I love you. But it's just amazing how just quickly everyone wants to jump all over the worst moment in somebody's life and use it to define them for the rest of their lives and careers. Oh, now we know who you really are because you misspoke. Warriors got to get it together tonight. Warriors really need this one in L.A. tonight. It should be a hell of a game in L.A. tonight. A's will get out of the way. They're at the Yankees. I'm sure that'll go just swimmingly for Oakland. The Giants will be going pretty much the same time the Warriors get going, so you got a little something on the flip back. I'm going to get going here on YouTube probably when this game ends tonight, so we might have another emergency sesh right here. But in the meantime, I thank you so much for listening. I want you to go ahead and join me in Club Plus, which is about to begin right here and right now. But I must let you know that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, whew, he's gone. Except he's not. Whiskey! Whiskey! Whiskey, whiskey! Get yourself a delicious bottle of blackened whiskey available at Bevmo. Usually anywhere you pick up your liquor, you can pick yourself up a bottle of blackened. You get ahead, just get that blackened. You get the rye. You go ahead and you take on a little that cask condition. Ooh, that's some good stuff too, boy, let me tell you. Otis Bird III, my man right there. Warriors lost their composure so easily last game. It went sideways. They really did, man. They just let it all slip away. They reverted to their worst habits. They reverted to everything that is wrong with the Golden State Warriors all at once. They truly did. That was bad. That was a bad game. You're right, Mitch. Connection, stereo MCs. Nailed it. I'm going to scroll on down and work backwards here in the Plus. Scrolling down and working backwards. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? There you go. Daniel, I love how you handle that sign, Damon. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's my 2x4. It's my protection. No one's going to mess with us in the Plus. You are secure. I got the blackened sign. Let us see what we got. Is that a Papa Bear shirt? It's actually a Heisen. It's a Breaking Bad Heisenbear. It's one of my favorite T-shirts. One of my favorite T-shirts out there. Thank you, Otis Bird. Thank you. Thank you, my man. AJ dropping a $2 super chat on Damon. Have a V8 and say it's anonymity. I still think I screwed it up. There are some words that I'm just bad at, and anonymity. I'm not even trying to screw it up for effect. Anonymity. Anonymity. It ain't good. Puff Puff Plus. Hey, thank you for joining. Thank you for getting through the show. Damon, where's the local dispensary sponsor? This is a fantastic question, and an answer we are working towards. An answer that we are officially working towards. What do we have? We have someone who's actually met Glenn. This is Amy. Amy's been a long listener and huge supporter. Thank you so much. She said, I've worked out with Glenn at Orange Theory. His wife is my favorite coach. I appreciate everything you said. He's a good human. It was an accident. Yeah, and look at it this way. It was a bad enough accident, okay? It was a bad enough accident where a little punishment is absolutely, par for the course there. Par for the course. But then, when it's over, it should be over. Thank you very much, Yosarian. By the way, Yosarian was the first person in the chat today at 10 a.m., before like an hour before the show even started. Yosarian, you are equal parts loyal and insane. Thank you so very, very much. This is from R.I.P. Cougar Rebel. The timing of the Kuiper incident is so unfortunate. I bet he would have great things to say and memories of Vida Blue. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. Vida was fantastic. And you are right about this, Otis Bird. Yeah, there are 3 Kuipers. Pardon me. There are 3. I'm going to blackened whiskey. Get some. I'm going to put it down for a second now. Because I got to get a coffee. Blackened. Get some. Blackened whiskey and black coffee. What powers the show. That and some Ike sandwiches, baby. So Jeff Kuiper does produce Giants telecasts. Cole Kuiper, that's right. He is now involved too. There's Kuipers everywhere. But it's Dwayne, it's Glenn, and it's Jeff that I know the best. Don't know Cole well at all. I've met him once, but that was it. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't grow up in a sports family. You don't grow up. I just don't understand how you can actually function around the sports world if you are even a closeted racist. I don't understand. I think it would be almost impossible. And I'm not saying that there are no racists in sports. Of course there are. They're usually the owners. But people who are working around teams and around players and around people and PR and fans, how could you survive if you walked around with hate in your heart? Especially in Oakland. I mean, come on. I don't understand. Apology videos gets lots of clicks. Look, I mean, Glenn has offered his apology. If he's allowed back on the air, I'm sure he's going to give you one more, but then you move on. You move on. Damon, I love how white people love telling people of color what we should and shouldn't be offended by. Let us make up our own mind. Exactly. This is what you figure it out for yourself. I'm not here to tell you that you should feel like I do about anything. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about anything, especially on the matters of race. But just taking a breath before you let one breath from one person try to be the defining moment of that person, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. See, you're on to me here. UC Steve. Damon will suspend himself just for a day off. That's brilliant. How about this? Suspended with pay. Suspended with pay. Somebody says, was he drinking? No, he wasn't drinking. There's no way he was drinking. Glenn is going to have his own YouTube show when the A's move to Las Vegas. First of all, I don't think the A's are going to Las Vegas. I don't think it's going to happen. Digital Drew. I like how other people tiptoe through a room full of rakes, and here's Damon strapping on a helmet and sprinting through while flapping a bird to everybody. Again, if you're here today, it's because you want to be. If you're here today, it's because you want to be. So, you be you. I'm going to be me. I'm going to say something that'll piss you off eventually. I've always said there are two types of broadcasters in the world. Those who get fired for saying too much and those who get fired for not saying enough. I proudly stand among the first group. Although I got fired for just making a decent paycheck and having the best ratings in Northern California. Thank you so much to Gabriel. Appreciate that. Maybe Glenn just finished Huckleberry Finn. Again, what are we going to suspend Huckleberry Finn? Can't have that. Actually, Florida probably loves a few chapters. Mitch, 10 spot. This is the Damon you wanted all along. Look, this is the Damon that's been here all along. But I just don't have to worry about anybody catching flack for the things that I say anymore. I don't want to get my producers in trouble, my board ops in trouble. Guess what? I am my own producer and board op. I wonder if Dwayne will have any comment about his brother. I mean, I wonder too. What's he gonna do? I mean, what would he say? My brother's a good guy. Give him a break. I guess that would probably be about par for the course. Skills report. If Glenn was caught off mic saying something like Vida Blue died, exactly. Exactly. It's like when Tom Brenneman thought he was off the air. He thought he was not on the air when he said, what, Kansas City is full of a bunch of, and he used a derogatory gay slur. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to tell a joke from Blazing Saddles. There's a line about Kansas City. There's a line in Kansas. There's a lot of lines in Blazing Saddles. And you are right. I seriously, I was talking about this with my friends this weekend, just texting back and forth about the situation. I can't believe that the word Negro is just allowed to go out there. I can't, that is the original N-word. The N-word with the R on the end of it is an abbreviation, is a bastardization of that word. Mitch, I'm glad you're paying attention here. He said, I just noticed the scrolling ticker ends with fuck John Fisher. It always will. As long as he is there. I will be fucking him as long as he's there. He's the worst. He's the worst. I think this sums it up very well, Mr. Bridge. I don't pretend to know what's in Glenn's heart, but I know what in my heart is in the heart of forgiveness. Hope you find it in yourself to kind of do the same. And for those of you who want to say, well, what, you're a white guy, of course you can forgive another white guy. Look, I'm telling you right now, this whole that word poured out of his mouth so easily. It's not the first time he's used that word. It's not the first time anyone's used that word. Come on, man. Let's be honest. Did you ever laugh at Eddie Murphy? Did you ever sing along to a rap song? Do you like NWA? Do you like Public Enemy? Do you like Drake? Do you like Flava Flav? Do you like Kevin Hart? Do you like Dave Chappelle? I mean, here's a good question. Damon, can you pronounce apoplectic? I can. I can stick the landing on apoplectic. I got apoplectic down. Here is the other event that happened in baseball over the weekend, a 92nd birthday to the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays. At 92. For a man, go and talk to anybody who was old enough to see him play. They can't believe that Willie Mays is 92. Buddy of mine named Greg GQ. I've brought him up on the show a million times. We've always said that we will know we're officially old men. Well, we know we're officially old men right now. But the day we will feel probably as old as humanly possible will be the day that Michael Jordan dies. That is going to be the athlete that defined my youth dying. And I can't even imagine what it's going to be like, the day that happens to Willie. That's going to be a day where old men will be just hat in hand crying. I'll tell you, I was in Washington Square Park right down in North Beach the day of Joe DiMaggio's funeral. when Joe DiMaggio's funeral, what is that? St. Pete's, St. Paul's, right there, right on the on Washington Square Park there, and the amount of older men, gentlemen in their 60s, 70s, 80s, that came out, had tears in their eyes because the Yankee Clipper, a real son of San Francisco, had died, and they were doing Joe DiMaggio's funeral, and there were 1,000 men just standing stoically outside. It was beautiful. It was heart-wrenching. It was beautiful. And I want to kind of, I think, end with this, because this goes for any and all words. Not just one, not just for two of them. I say this definitively. If any word offends you, well, number one, I'm sorry. Number two, a word should never offend you. Actions should offend you. And number three, you do not have the right to an unoffended life. If you want to be a participant in the world, you will be offended. That's just the way it goes out there. That's just the way it goes. Look, I didn't do any of this to get anybody's good side or on anybody's bad side. I'm just telling you how I feel about the situation, and a man that I know, a man that I have met, that I've known. And I think that if you met and got to know Glen Kuiper, you would feel the same way. And look at it this way, the two most high-profile met and know Glen Kuiper guys out there in terms of, African-American men who have worked with Glen Kuiper, Shooty Babbitt and Dave Stewart, if they're coming out and saying, no, let me tell you, there's racism in the world, but it's really not stemming from this guy, you should believe them. Don't trust your own instincts all the time. Keep it real. That's all we got. That's all we do. We keep it real. Go ask Ricky Henderson. Let Ricky make the tie-breaking vote. Ricky, what should happen? I guarantee you he'd be like, Ricky has decided. Ricky is going to allow Glen Kuiper's back into Ricky's booth. God, I love Ricky. St. Peter and Paul's. Thank you very much, Baron Red. That's right. It's St. Peter and Paul's. That's why I thought of both of them. It was wonderful to have you here today. It was great to have you here today. I appreciate you being here today. And I invite you back tomorrow. I'd love to see you again right here on the Plus. I'd love for you to see me again. So we will have a Monster Warriors game to talk about, a little baseball to talk about, and I'm sure a few other things will pop up between now and then. But in the meantime, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for joining us in Club Plus. Thanks to everyone who participated in the chat. Thanks to everyone who dipped into their pocket, decided to go ahead and jingle-jangle it up. I really appreciate that. To all of you, whether you did or didn't, it's wonderful to just have you here. We are working on improving this. This is week number 7 of the Plus. That's it. We're still all brand new at this. I cannot wait to see what this is in about a year from now, because we're just underway and we're already hot fire, baby. Have yourself a great Monday. Go to lunch, grab Ike's. When you're at happy hour, see if they don't have any blackened whiskey for you to sip on. In the meantime, you don't have to go home, boys and girls, but you can't stay here. Take care and be nice to each other. Spread the love. That's the best way to go about it.